estimate, estimate, estimate. So, let's break down the word estimate. As a verb, it means to calculate or judge the value, cost, or extent of something. For example, if you're planning to buy a new apartment, your real estate agent might give you an estimate of how much it will cost to move in. When used as a noun, estimate refers to the amount or quantity calculated or judged as being likely or average. So, if someone asks for your daily food expense and you say £20 is your estimate, that means you think £20 is a fair average amount for what you spend on food every day. In a formal situation, such as in a court of law, you might say the prosecution's estimate of the defendant's culpability is based on several key pieces of evidence. This sentence uses estimate to mean an educated guess or rough calculation, and it implies that the estimation was made after careful consideration. In contrast, if you're having a casual conversation with a friend, you might say, I estimate we'll be at the concert venue around 7:30 p.m. So let's plan to meet up there. Here, estimate simply means to guess or predict something, and it's used in a relaxed and informal way. In a business or academic context, such as when discussing project timelines, you might say, our estimate for completing the first phase is within the next 6 to 8 weeks. Assuming no major setbacks, this usage implies that an expert calculation or prediction was made, and it's often followed by specific details or numbers to support the claim. So, when we talk about something that is roughly calculated, often based on some information or assumptions, but not entirely precise, think of it like making an educated guess. It's a way to give a general idea of how big or small something is going to be, without actually knowing for sure. You might use this when you're planning a project and need to get a sense of what materials or resources will be needed, even if you can't be 100% certain. Similar concepts like guesstimate or rough calculation come to mind. All of these are about finding a number that's close enough, but not necessarily exact. Evidence, evidence, evidence. Let's dive into the world of English vocabulary together. So, you want to know more about the word evidence, right? Well, it's a noun, which means it can be used as a subject or an object in a sentence. Now, when it comes to common usage, think about situations where we need proof or facts to support our claims or conclusions. That's exactly what evidence is, something that shows us the truth or reality of a situation. For example, the video was taken as evidence to support the police officer's story. Here's another example. The new study provides strong evidence that a healthy diet can prevent heart disease. Now, let me share some special notes about its usage. You see, when we talk about evidence, it's not just limited to concrete things like documents or video recordings. It can also refer to the facts and circumstances themselves, making statements or conclusions more likely to be true. For instance, the weather forecast was based on evidence from satellite images. So, remember that evidence is often used in situations where we need to convince others of something, or reach a conclusion through reasoning. As you explore this word further, keep in mind that it's closely related to the concept of proof. Just like how we provide evidence to prove someone's guilt or innocence, we also use evidence to demonstrate the accuracy or truthfulness of our statements. For example, the witness provided evidence that he was at the scene of the crime. Let's take a look at how you can use the word evidence in different contexts. In a formal setting, such as a courtroom, You might say, the prosecution presented overwhelming evidence that the defendant was at the scene of the crime on the night of the robbery. This sentence is used to explain that the person being tried for robbery has proof that they were present when it happened. In a casual conversation, like chatting with a friend, you could say, I have some evidence that I'm in love. He wrote me a sweet note and brought me my favorite coffee this morning. Here, the word evidence is used humorously to emphasize how someone knows they're in a good relationship. In everyday life, people often use light-hearted examples like this to add a playful touch. In a business or academic setting, you might say, the study's findings provided strong evidence that investing in renewable energy sources can significantly reduce carbon emissions. This sentence is used to explain the results of research and how they support a particular claim. In both professional and educational contexts, presenting solid evidence is essential for making informed decisions or supporting theories. So you want to know what evidence means? Well, think of it as information or facts that help us support or prove something is true. Main characteristics of evidence are that it's usually reliable and trustworthy, coming from a credible source, like a study or expert opinion. It's used to build strong arguments or claims, making them more convincing or believable. Similar concepts to keep in mind might be proof, data, or testimony. They all point towards supporting facts or opinions. When we use evidence, we're not just guessing or hoping something is true. We're relying on solid information to make a case or draw a conclusion. Export. 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 Let's break down the word export. So, the part of speech for export is a noun, but it can also be used as a verb. When used as a verb, to export means to send goods or services from one country to another, often for sale. For example, the company exports electronics to several countries. As a noun, export refers to the act of sending goods or services out of a country, or the goods themselves that are being sent out. For instance, the export of technology has greatly benefited our economy. It's worth noting that when used in business contexts, export often implies a more formal and organized process than simply selling something to someone else. Here are 3 practical example sentences using the word export, along with their contexts. I'm planning to visit my family in New York for the summer and I need to export some of our clothes that we won't wear this season, so they can pack them up and send them over. In this context, exporting refers to physically transporting goods out of a country or region, which is a common usage in casual conversations. At the Conference on International Trade, the keynote speaker emphasized the importance of diversifying export markets for our companies' growth prospects, highlighting the potential opportunities in emerging economies like India and Brazil. Here, exporting is used in an academic business context to refer to the process of selling goods or services to another country, which is a key concept in global trade. I just got an email from my friend who's working in London saying that she was able to export some of her favorite British TV shows onto her laptop using a special software. So now we can watch them together over video call. In this context, exporting refers to the process of transferring digital content from one platform or device to another, which is a common usage in casual conversations among friends. So you're trying to learn about this concept that means sending something outside of your country or region to be used by people in other places. Well, let me break it down for you.